like the scent of fresh bread being baked. And you know, that scent just wafting through the house. So as soon as the bread comes out of the oven, I don't care how hot it is, it's gonna be hot, but I need a slice. I need a slice. I just love. Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Ray and a Recipe. I am your host, Ray, and on this channel, you get some lifestyle content and bonus content recipes. Now, if that is the kind of things that you are into, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe. Help me build this community here on YouTube. On today's episode, however, I'm gonna be demonstrating for you my take on brioche bread, specifically brioche buns, because I have intentions of making sandwiches and burgers later for the family. So if this is a recipe that you are interested in, stick around. As a matter of fact, let's get started. So we are gonna get started with the kneading process. I am gonna start kneading the flour in this basin before I turn it over into my cake mixer. So in this bowl, I already have my flour sifted out and portioned already. I also will be putting eggs, powdered milk for the creaminess, because I just love what milk does to the flour. It enhances the flavor profile. I am also going to be using brown sugar, some salt, some butter, some oil. For the exact measurements, I will place it in the description. I will be making a big batch of bread because my family is big and we are going to be consuming a lot of bread tonight. But I will leave the ingredients measured out in grams. You all could scale it to suit, scale it up or scale it down. Right? But let's get started with the kneading process. So have a look at what I'm doing.
Look wonderful. Aww. All a pretty smile.
Alright, okay, that's done.
Yeah.
So in the bowl here, we already have our flour, like I mentioned to you before, already sifted. And I'm going to be adding the milk, the sugar, and the yeast, right? All of it will be going in one time. I'm also going to be adding the butter and the oil at the same time. And the eggs as well. 2 eggs will be coming in here to start the process. I'm going to start with the mixing. If you notice, I didn't add the salt because salt has a tendency to kill the yeast, whereas sugar, on the other hand, will help the yeast to bloom. So after 2 minutes or so of kneading, then I will add the salt. So in the meantime, we'll put that on the side. Right, so we start the kneading process now, just to kind of incorporate the ingredients that we put in. Of course, the egg is helping, but we need some water, which I have here. And I'm going to add this slowly. I didn't measure the water, but when I'm putting the ingredients on the screen, I will put how much grams of water you should use. I will just eyeball it because I know what I want. Right, so I'm just adding a little bit. So make sure you knead it properly. And it already smells so good because the powdered milk in it is just giving that creamy smell. Oh my gosh. And when it goes in the oven, even better. Alright, so as you might be able to see here, it still doesn't have enough water. It's still kind of crumbly, and that wouldn't work for this recipe. We need more. So I'm going to add some more. Alright, and we'll start again. And the reason why I'm starting the kneading process in the bowl is because I am going to transfer it to my cake mixing stand. But I'm doing this first so that flour doesn't fly everywhere. Because one thing about me, I don't mind cooking, but the cleaning part is not really my favorite. So nice, I think that this is fine. I'm going to add just a little bit more. And this is perfect. See? Nice and tacky. That's exactly what we want. So I'm going to transfer this into my mixer, my mixing bowl. And over here, I'm gonna put it onto the stand, and then I'm gonna beat this for about 2 minutes and then add the salt.
You ready?
Okay,
Nice.
my lovelies, so after 2 minutes, this is what the flour is looking like. Yeah, so at this point I'm gonna add the salt. Give it a quick mix like this, nothing too much, and then I'm gonna put this back on the mixer and I'm gonna leave it to mix on medium to high speed for about 8 to 10 minutes.
Hi, Smiley.
Okay, so I just removed the flour after 10 minutes of being on the mixer, and this is what the dough is looking like. Right, it's very smooth, but I want to also show you something. Right, so I'm gonna tear off a little piece here, and I want to show you why I prefer to mix on in the mixer. I'm actually stretching the dough here, and you see it's not breaking, and that is what I like. This is what you call painting. It's painting. It's kind of transparent after a pull, right? Means that the dough is very smooth. So what I'm gonna do now is transfer this dough back into the bowl that we started mixing in first, and I'm gonna allow it to rest for about an hour before I interfere with it again. See how smooth it is? That is what we like. So I'm gonna leave it there so that the gluten will continue to develop in it for about an hour, and then I'll check in with it again. Right? So this is it. Point to note, the bowl that I'm putting it back in is a greased one, right? I oiled it, so I'm gonna leave it in here and I'm gonna cover it for a little bit and then check back with it. Yeah? So after an hour, this is what our dough is looking like, and it's because the gluten would have continued to form, and of course in doing that process the gas will have also built up, right? So obviously you go in to let some of that gas escape, and you need the flour like this, and because we oiled our bowl earlier, it doesn't stick to the side. So this is what we want, right? So matter of fact, I think I want to turn this out here, and I have my scale here because remember I told you guys that I wanted to make brioche buns because I wanted to make sandwiches for later. So I have my scale here, and I'm gonna ball out these or section this flour into as many buns that I could get. The weight that I'm using would be 100 grams. That is for like a larger bun. If you want something smaller, you could maybe go 80 grams, 75, 80 grams. And for like a jumbo bun, maybe go 110, 115. But I'm going right in the middle there at 100 grams, right? So I turned it out on the countertop, and I'm just gonna pinch off some of the flour, and I will weigh it. This is 117. Still a little too big. And this is exactly what we want. So this is what it looks like, but remember it's when I set it in the pan, which I have over here, because I'm gonna bake it in this. So once I form all of my balls or buns like this, and I don't even have to grease the or flour the countertop because it is nice and coated with the oil, so it's easy to work with. So I'm gonna flour it like this, form it like this, a nice round bowl, and I'm gonna set it in the tray so that, and then I will leave it maybe for like 15-20 minutes to raise, and then I will put it in the oven. So I'm gonna continue doing this and I will check back with you all. Okay, so I was able to get about 17 buns from my recipe and the ratios that I used. So now I'm about to make a glaze before I put it into the preheated oven. Glaze, this is all I need: an egg and a splash of milk. And what this egg milk wash will do is help to give the buns a nice golden brown outer layer, which is what we prefer. So I'm gonna now glaze the bread and then put them in the oven. Okay, so what I forgot to mention in the last clip is that I baked the bread for about 20 minutes on 350 degrees, and this is what it looks like. This is exactly what it looks like. And thanks to the glaze, it has that nice golden brown top. So perfect, so beautiful. But I think I'll put this pan back just to get a little more color because I prefer the way this one looks. So for about 5 minutes, I'll put this one back in.